Hello everyone, my name is Jason and this is Netminder Review. Today let's talk about the Vezina Trophy. The Vezina Trophy is the award that is given every year in the NHL to the NHL's top goaltender. It is voted on at the end of the season and does not include playoff performance. So, for example, last year it was awarded to Andrei Vasilevsky of the Tampa Bay Lightning. That award was given to him based on his performance throughout the 2018-19 season and did not in any way include what happened in the playoffs. The award is voted on every year by the league's 31 general managers. There are 31 teams in the league, and the 31 general managers vote on who will receive the trophy. Once Seattle comes into the league, that obviously will change to 32. The award, the Vezina Trophy, is named after Georges Vezina, who was a goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens from 1910 to 1925. He died in 1925 from tuberculosis, and subsequently the owner of the Montreal Canadiens donated the Vezina Trophy in his honor to the league to be given to the league's top goaltender every year. In the beginning, there were some questions, and even when you go back and look at the historical records, different media outlets gave different reports on what criteria would be used to award the trophy. And over time, that criteria has changed. But as it stands right now, it is voted on by the general managers at the end of the season, and then awarded during the award ceremony where all of the NHL trophies are given out after the Stanley Cup Finals. The first Vezina Trophy was awarded in 1926-1927, or at the end of the 1926-27 season. Now, as I stated, early on in the life of the Vezina Trophy, the criteria for winning it was a little vague. However, there was a 34-year period from 1947 to 1982 where the award was given to the team that allowed the fewest goals throughout the season. Usually what happened at that time was that the team decided which of their two goalies was going to get the award. But for the most part, that was never really in doubt, especially in the early part of that time, because the goaltender, the starting goaltender for the team, tended to start every game, play every game. It wasn't up until they expanded the season to 70 games that you started to see more situations where the starting goaltender would play the bulk of the games and a backup would play some of them. There are, according to the record, some years where more than one goaltender was awarded it because they were on the same team. Now, like I said, during that time, it was given to the team that had allowed the fewest goals throughout the season. Now the Jennings Trophy is more geared toward accomplishing that, and I may do another video at some point on the Jennings Trophy and exactly what that is and its history, like I'm doing with this one. The first winner of the Vezina Trophy was George Hainsworth of the Montreal Canadiens, who was the replacement, effectively, for Georges Vezina, who had passed away the year before. Now, one could argue that for many years, when there were only 6 teams, it was much easier to win the Vezina in the sense that there were only really 6 goalies to choose from. Now, of course, with 31 teams, it's more difficult. And in a moment, I'm going to look at the history of who has won the most Vezina trophies and you'll see that the number one goalie, the goalie who's won the most, played during a number of those original 6 years when there were really only 6 goalies to choose from, awarding it to. So let's take a look at the all-time Vezina Trophy winners, the leaderboard. Jacques Plante won it the most times with 7. Now, as I stated a moment ago, the better part of Jacques Plante's career was played when there were only 6 teams. So I suppose we could argue that it was easier for Jacques Plante to win it then. He had a 1 in 6 opportunity. Nevertheless, it's quite a feat. And we all know, of course, how good the Montreal Canadiens were during many of those years. Jacques Plante, of course, was in the league when the league expanded in 1967 from 6 teams to 12 and ended up on the St. Louis Blues, one of those expansion teams. With 6, Bill Durnan and Dominik Hasek. And I just want to comment a moment on Dominik Hasek. If you're new to hockey and you don't know the name Dominik Hasek, do yourself a favor. Go on to YouTube and look up highlight reels of Dominik Hasek. I was watching hockey all through Dominik Hasek's career, and I'm a huge Dominik Hasek fan, and you're never going to find more entertaining highlight reels of a goaltender than you will if you'll go watch 10 or 20 or 30 minutes of the best of Dominik Hasek. Now, Hasek played with Chicago. He took Buffalo to a Stanley Cup final in 1999, which they lost to Dallas. And then he went on to Detroit, where he won at least one Stanley Cup. I can't remember if he won more than one and where else he might have played. But anyway, do yourself a favor and familiarize yourself with the career of Dominik Hasek, or at least his highlight reels. With 5 Vezina trophies in his career, Ken Dryden of the Montreal Canadiens. With 4, we have Martin Brodeur, who, of course, played his entire career, except for a few games, with the New Jersey Devils. Terry Sawchuk, who spent the bulk of his career with the Red Wings. Michel Larocque and Tiny Thompson, all with 4. Esposito, Tony Esposito, George Hainsworth, Glenn Hall, and Patrick Waugh all had 3 Vezina trophies. There are 10 other goaltenders who were awarded the Vezina Trophy twice, and 34 goaltenders who were each awarded the Vezina Trophy 1 time. And among those 34 include last year's winner, Andrei Vasilevsky of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Which goalies who are currently playing in the NHL have won a Vezina Trophy? Sergei Bobrovsky, who currently plays for the Florida Panthers, but played with the Columbus Blue Jackets prior to this year, has won 2. He's the only active goalie in the NHL who has won 2. The rest of the active goalies that have won it have only won 1 time. That includes Braden Holtby from the Washington Capitals, Henrik Lundqvist from the New York Rangers, who had a shutout tonight, by the way, Ryan Miller, who's currently with the Anaheim Ducks, but if I'm not mistaken, was with the Buffalo Sabres when he won that Vezina. Carey Price of the Montreal Canadiens, Tuukka Rask of the Boston Bruins, Pekka Rinne of the Nashville Predators, and last year's winner, Andrei Vasilevsky of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now let's take a look at winners by their nationality. Canadian-born goaltenders have won the award 83 times. American-born goaltenders have won it 8 times. Czech goaltenders, 6. Finnish goaltenders, 3. 3 Russians, 2 Swedes, and 1 German. Now, if you're looking at these numbers and you're doing some math in your mind, you might be thinking, okay, the award was first given out in 1927, so that's what, 73 plus the 20 years we've had this year, or this century. So that's 93. Of course, it hasn't been awarded that this year yet, so 92. And you look at these numbers and you say that adds up to more than 92. Well, remember, for some years, it was actually awarded to 2 goaltenders from the same team. That doesn't happen anymore, but it did happen a few times, and that's why our numbers come up a little wonky. Also, something else that you might be interested in knowing is that the Montreal Canadiens have won it 29 times. 29 times. More than any other team. If you're wondering who the one German was, I'm pretty sure it was Olaf Kolzig, who played for the Washington Capitals. So, just in case that's bugging you, who was that one? You just got to know. That's who it was. Anyway, that is a little history of the Vezina Trophy, and I'm thinking about doing a video pretty soon on who I think is likely to win the Vezina this year, but we'll see if I get around to doing that or not. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope this information was interesting to you. Please hit like, please subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos from me in the future and know whenever they roll out. I really appreciate you watching. If you're watching this on social media, would you please share it with your hockey-loving friends? Thank you so much and have an awesome night.